Hello board game brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode where I'll be letting you know of Kickstarters launching this week. Hello board game brothers and sisters, and it was a little too loud outside, so we're back indoors. And I just want to start this video out by saying that I'm going to announce any winners from last week's giveaways at the end of this video. And I only have one giveaway this week, so I'll just start off with that. And this is going to be for the 2 decks pledge for a campaign going on that's offering a custom version of the card game Skat. If you're unfamiliar with Skat, it's a 3-player trick-taking game that's very popular in Germany, and some even might call it the king of German card games. Skat can be played with a traditional deck of cards, but this campaign is offering a custom deck that's more suited to the game and makes it a lot more intuitive and simpler to play. These cards are going to have custom symbols and colors so that you can easily identify the different cards. And like I said, this giveaway is for the 2 Blue Rings Decks pledge, and to enter this giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment down below with the hashtag Skat, and just leave me any comment that you want in German. I actually used to live in Germany for about 5 months when I worked there, and there's a few phrases I learned to help me look a little bit like one of the locals, and one of my favorite phrases that got me through my stay there was "noch ein Bier." If you want to know more about this game, definitely check out the campaign because they have all sorts of videos that can help you learn how to play. And the first campaign we have launches on October 26th, and it's called the Mariana Trench. And this plays 1 to 2 players and takes about 10 to 20 minutes to play. And in this game, you're going to be trying to score the most victory points by researching deep-sea creatures in the Mariana Trench before your submarine runs out of oxygen. This game uses card drafting, and your score is going to be your lowest value in a given category. This game features artwork by Tristan Rosem, who I've seen active in the board game community, and he creates some really nice artwork, so you know it's going to look good. And the next campaign launches on October 27th, and it's called Top Tail, and this plays 2 to 10 players and takes about 30 to 120 minutes to play. And in this game, players are going to be drawing different cards that have different questions on them that players are going to have to answer. So it might be, how would you spend $1 million? Who's the most interesting person you met? Or what's the scariest place you've ever been? Players get points for answering these questions, but also for answering them in the most entertaining way. The point of this game is clear, as the title says, to get to know your fellow humans. And the next campaign also launches on the 27th, and it's called My Date with a Zombie, and this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 15 to 45 minutes to play. And in this game, players are going to be bidding, trading, and set collecting, pulling together your limbs and body parts along with some special items to try and pull yourself together for a fabulous date. The player who does this the best gets the most points and wins the game. And the next campaign we have also launches on October 27th, and it's called Endless Winter Paleoamericans, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 50 to 90 minutes to play. And this game is designed by a few designers that you might recognize, and they've designed different games like Dice Hospital, 𝗚𝗺𝗀 Kelowna, Merchant's Cove, and several others. And Endless Winter takes place back in 10,000 BCE, and players are going to be competing to build up their tribes. They're going to be doing things like hunting, building different structures, migrating their tribes to different lands, and developing new traditions. This takes a more unique approach to the Euro-style game by combining deck building with worker placement. This game plays over 4 rounds, and each round players are going to be sending their tribe members to the various action spaces and paying for their actions by playing cards and spending resources. This game features some really nice artwork, and I believe the artists are actually the founders of the publishing company for this game. And it also looks like they're going to be offering some really nice miniatures to go along with this game. And I have to say, I really do like how these miniatures look. They look a little bit more cartoony than what you might see in other miniatures games, but they still have a lot of detail, and I think they look really nice painted up. This game features mechanisms like area majority, deck building, endgame bonuses, hand management, a modular board, set collection, simultaneous action selection, and worker placement. This looks like a first-time publisher. It looks like they're doing a lot of great work so far, so if this looks interesting to you, definitely check out their campaign, and I'm sure they'll appreciate your support. Also on the 27th, we have Shogun no Katana, and this is a game for 1 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 180 minutes to play. And this is a Euro game that takes place in feudal Japan, where players will be competing to forge the most beautiful swords. You're going to be placing workers to choose which swords you want to make based on the requests of the daimyo. You're going to be collecting different resources to improve those swords, and also hiring artists to decorate them and make them more beautiful. Players will be managing a grid that represents their forge, and you'll be able to activate either a row or column on that grid, which allows you to work on multiple katanas at the same time. Having a lot of katanas on your grid can also be very risky because they can get in the way of each other as you try to develop them. This game does offer some really nice artwork, miniatures, and deluxe components. Also on the 27th, we have B-Movies, and this plays 3 to 6 players and takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. This is a party game where players are going to be dealt different cards, and players are going to have to use those cards to form a title and a premise of a B-movie. Players are all representing different producers, and you're going to have to convince the other players that your idea is a good one. Players will be voting to decide which ideas go into production and which ones don't, and the player with the most points at the end of the game wins the game. Also on the 27th, we have Dire Alliance Horror, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 45 to 90 minutes to play. And this is the first title in the Dire Alliance games, which is going to take place in a classic horror world. This game focuses primarily on deck building and dice rolling, and it can be played both cooperatively or competitively. Players will be choosing both a leader and a faction, and in the competitive mode, players will be going head-to-head to try and defeat their opponent. The cooperative mode allows 1 to 4 players to work together to try and take down an AI-controlled enemy and its minions before they achieve their nefarious goals. As more of these Dire Alliance sets are released in their product line, you'll be able to mix and match them to blend genres and form your own stories and conflicts. Also on the 27th, we have Morphosis Infestation, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. And this is actually a relaunch, so if you want to check out the original campaign page, you can go see it on Kickstarter. And this is a cooperative game where players are a crew assigned to a research station. It just so happens that the particular station you're working at is about to get attacked by aliens. Players will be working together to build makeshift weapons to fight off the insect horde. You'll also be accessing the station's computer in order to lock off certain areas of the facility, turn on different security measures, and prevent certain system failures. This game does feature some really nice miniatures for both the enemies and the players, and if you like cooperative survival board games, this will definitely be one that you want to check out. Also on the 27th, we have Trust Me, I'm a Superhero, and this plays 3 to 8 players and takes about 30 minutes to play. And this is a game where players get to choose a superpower and become a superhero. Except you're not just any superhero, because you only deal with the small stuff, as the A-team has already came in and cleaned up all the major crime. One player is going to act as a citizen, and they're going to be drawing a call for help, and this is a party game of arguing, heckling, and negotiation, because all the superheroes are going to have to convince that citizen that they're the best suited for the job. Whoever the citizen picks gets a point, and they become the next citizen. This continues until one player has 3 points, and that player wins the game. Also on the 27th, we have 2 expansions for the game Asking for Trobils, which is a worker placement and pick up and deliver game where players are trying to get rid of space pests. First, we have the Troublemakers expansion, which adds new trouble cards and a new location, as well as some other components. And this expansion focuses more on some mechanized pests that get added to the mix. And the next expansion is the Companions expansion, which adds some new friendly characters to the game. And these companions want to travel around with you as you explore the galaxy and help you gather valuable shards. You'll want to gather as many of these shards as possible while still getting rid of all the troubles. Also on the 27th, we have the 7th anniversary of the King's Armory, and this plays 1 to 7 players and takes about 3 to 5 hours to play. And this is a fully cooperative game based on the mechanisms of tower defense video games. At the start of each game, you'll build your own map, choose your own hero, and fight against waves and waves of monsters. This new edition completely re-implements the original with 43 new miniatures, upgraded components, upgraded art, a fully rewritten manual, and more streamlined play. This also includes some minor rebalancing and a box that's 3 times bigger than the original to hold all the new components. Also on the 27th, we have 2 Kings, and this plays 2 players and takes about 10 to 30 minutes to play. And this is a card game that plays over 2 phases. The first is where you'll be building your army, and the next is where you'll be taking the army into battle. In the first phase, players are going to be placing cards to form the land, trying to match different icons in order to form allegiances with the nobles and strengthen their position for the next round. The next phase consists of 3 battles, and the player that wins 2 out of those 3 battles wins the game. Also on the 27th, we have several new expansions for the game Sakura Arms, and this plays 2 players and takes about 10 to 20 minutes to play. And this is a game where each player chooses 2 characters and combines them into a single deck, and you'll be building that deck to attack your opponent and win the game. This campaign is going to be offering 3 new boxes, each with 6 goddesses and everything else you need to play the game, and these can be played individually, or you can combine them with each other or the existing content. I just want to take a second here and say that if you like this content, definitely check out kickstartergames.com because they offer a wide selection of games, and any purchases made there, a small percentage will come back and help this channel. If you're trying to thin your collection a little, they also purchase games, so you can also check that out. And feel free to sign up to their newsletter because they do a giveaway each month, and this month is Pendulum by Stonemaier Games. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. On October 28th, we have Sons of Faeriell, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 90 to 120 minutes to play. And this is a semi-cooperative strategic Euro game with asymmetric player powers and multiple endings. In this game, you're going to be guiding your tribe in pursuit of your goals and helping the Great Guardians to help fight off the corruption which is endangering life in the land. Players will be able to choose a hero, which is represented by a miniature, and you'll actually be able to customize it with a tribal mask that can be actually worn by the miniature. These masks add some specializations, but you'll also be able to upgrade your character with different abilities as you play the game. I did mention that this is a semi-cooperative game because one player will get the option to go against the rest of the team and join the side of the corruption, and if the corruption wins, they win the game. This game will also feature mechanisms like an action queue, movement points, ownership, and point-to-point movement. Next on the 28th, we have Clash of Armies Medieval, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 20 to 50 minutes to play. And this is a deck building game where you're going to want to build the biggest army and fortifications in order to generate the most hit points to win the game. Players will be attacking each other, so in addition to dealing out hit points, you'll also want to be defending from them. Building the largest deck isn't necessarily the best way to win the game. Instead, you're going to want to make the most efficient deck. This game also features an event deck, which is based on actual historic events, and when an event occurs, it affects all players. The next campaign is launching on the 29th, and it's called The Warp. And this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 90 to 180 minutes to play. And this is a fast-paced 4X game where players get to choose 2 out of the 16 unique asymmetrical alien races and lead their colonies along the path of prosperity, progress, and conquest. This game takes place after a global catastrophe in an unstable wasteland with shifting alliances. This game features 66 possible mission objectives during play, allowing players to choose their own playstyle. The core mechanisms incorporate area control, resource management, and engine building. The combat system features bluffing and bribing, and the game can also be played in teams of 2. And this one's going to be my pick of the week. And the reason I'm picking this one is because I've actually seen this game through a lot of its development. I haven't been personally involved in it in any way. I've just seen a lot of the work that the designer has put into this game, and I think it's the perfect example that if you're smart, determined, and put in the work, anyone can create a board game. This designer has been very active in the community, and I first saw him on Facebook where he was sharing his progress with the game and also giving back any feedback that he could offer to other designers. As a designer, it's important to know that you're asking a lot anytime you're looking for feedback or play testers. That's why it's so great to see designers showing their appreciation by offering as much back to the community that they can as well. Over the past few years, I know that this game has been heavily playtested both by the designer and his circle of friends, as well as many people outside of his circle. This designer has also provided a ton of info on Board Game Geek, including the entire work-in-progress rulebook, a full print and play, and a lot of info on his design process as he iterated on the game. Providing all that is really going above and beyond as a designer. This game also features some really nice artwork that I think rivals the artwork from some of the really big publishers. I know this is an area that was really important to the designer, so I think that just goes to show that with a little bit of persistence, you can actually find some really great artists that can make some amazing work for your game. I haven't played this game myself yet, but it does look like a lot of fun, and with all the work that the designers put into it, it really gives me that confidence that I want when I go to back a game. So if this looks like a game you're interested in, or if you'd like to support a designer who's really going above and beyond, definitely check this one out. The next campaign launches on the 30th, and it's called Brick and Mortar, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes 1 to 2 hours to play. And this actually has the same artist as Mariana Trench, which is one of the first games I mentioned in this video. Over a series of rounds, players are going to try to maximize their profits, build equity, and undercut the competition. You'll also be manipulating the market to benefit yourself and throw off your opponents. And the last campaign we have launches on the 31st, and it's called 𝗚𝗺𝗄 and this plays 3 to 5 players and takes about 20 to 40 minutes to play. This is a party game where players are going to be killing each other with cuteness. When a player draws a cuteness card, it triggers a cuteness attack mode where that player needs to defend against the cuteness in order to stay in the game. The last player standing wins the game. And that's all I have for you this week. I don't exactly have all my equipment set up here, so I'll be working on my audio and my setup a little bit over the next few videos. And until next time, keep that shelf cluttered and the table full.